Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and Ranking Member, for this important hearing. And thank you all for being here today. Is it Cephalou?
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Cephalou, I couldn't agree with you more, your last statement. I never understood why we work so hard. We spend a lot of money to create a cure for acute diseases for individuals to save lives, and then we price it out of their hands. The very people that we're creating the cure for, they can't get the drug. It makes no sense to me. And so that's why my fight has been to address the high cost of prescription drugs in general, and how do we put them in the hands of individuals who actually need them and can afford them. In Nevada, we recently passed a diabetes drug transparency bill. It was passed last year, and it requires drug manufacturers to explain each factor that contributed to increases in the price of diabetes drugs, the percentage of the total increase attributed to each factor, and an explanation of the role of each factor in the increase. The bill would also require PBMs to disclose rebates negotiated with drug manufacturers and what rebates are distributed to insurers. Dr. Green, I'm curious what your reaction is to this transparency law, and Dr. Cephalou as well. And do you think that a national drug price transparency law similar to the one that Nevada has would help us understand why drug prices have become so high?
Thank you for that question, Senator. I've been following with great interest the activity in the Nevada legislature and also states across the country who have tried to understand where the state government can take up the cause of off-patent drug affordability and prescription drug affordability in general. In the state of Maryland, the Attorney General proposed a bill that became law last year, making price gouging, unconscionable price hikes in off-patent prescription drugs illegal and actionable. This was the law in the state of Maryland until just a few weeks ago, when an appellate court in the Fourth Circuit ruled under the Dormant Commerce Clause that it was unconstitutional, which is to say, saying that the extent to which the state can successfully act to defend the interest of its consumers in not paying unconscionably high prices of prescription drugs was limited to the scope of federal activity. Now, that's being appealed by the Attorney General, and personally, it was a 2-to-1 vote. I actually think there's a really credible legal argument for that ruling to be overturned and for the law to be reinstated. But I'm not a lawyer, I'm a physician. And I think that right now it is the law of the land suggesting that this is an arena in which only the federal government, only Congress really, can take the proper actions to help ensure a more transparent system and understanding why prices are increasing. I had high hopes for state initiatives, and I still do for the Nevada initiative, but the finding of this recent Fourth Circuit ruling has caused me to consider even more the importance of Congress taking up this issue.
I agree, and let me just say that the Nevada law as well is being challenged by the pharmaceutical industry, and it will go through the courts right now, and it would be in the Ninth Circuit. But it's a clear example of where the states are taking action to protect their residents and their individuals, because there is an issue that I think we all hear every time we go to our state from high cost of prescription drugs. Something has to be done to address this. And I think that a transparency in general, to shine a light on what is happening and why the costs are there and what's causing these high costs, is so important to address the issue. So I appreciate your comments. Yes, Dr. Cephalou.
So I appreciate that. We also believe, again, from this exercise, it's transparency throughout the supply chain, not just one or two stakeholders. The entire stakeholder issue is opaque, it's complicated, and so we would support transparency throughout the chain first and foremost. Transparency is not going to get the job done. That will shed a light on what the problems are, and then we can address long-term solutions. So again, transparency all the way through the supply chain so we understand the flow of money, who's profiting, who's not profiting, but once again, at the end of the day, it's the patient at the point of sale who's not benefiting. I think that's the important thing to consider here.
I agree with you. Thank you. I notice my time is almost up. Thank you all for this important discussion today. I appreciate it.